Good afternoon to everybody at COMSTECH. It's my honor to be talking to you today, although I would have preferred to do this in person, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic, I wasn't able to travel. That said, the topic that COMSTECH has picked for the day on artificial intelligence and IoT is a fantastic topic, and obviously, the impact on virtually every industry will be seen by these two areas of technology. Now, as a company, Convo, we've been working more in the areas of what is artificial intelligence or machine learning going to have an impact on our business, on the enterprise software, and how do we have to build better solutions that provide value to our customers. Now, before I continue on our thoughts on how we see this market shaping out, I wanted to make sure to take a minute to talk about the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning, because we find many times people use the words interchangeably and they are close yet a little bit different from each other. The notion behind artificial intelligence is that that's technologies that can reason with you, that can converse with you, and can potentially change your mind, because they are now intelligent systems that can hold a conversation. It's very important to understand the difference here. And in machine learning is an algorithm which gets smarter the more data you give into it. It it improves on its own. Yet it's really based on input output. It will make help you make a decision. It will be more efficient, but it's not going to really converse with you or try to convince you. And that is a big area of difference between the two. Artificial intelligence is going to have a major impact because a lot of things in the future are going to be based on that. But we believe in the next, I would say, 3 to 5 years, machine learning is going to have a much bigger impact on the areas of enterprise software and what it means for the employees. Now, artificial intelligence, machine learning, they're part of the same field of science. So they're not separate, they're just variations of sophistication of the software. And my first interaction, I would say, in this field happened in around 2010, almost a decade ago, when we were building our company now, and we were trying to change the way students were learning from physical to digital. And we wanted to see, all right, if the textbooks were going to be online, they were going to be digital, what is the impact of that that's going to have on the ability of a student? What kind of outcome will they have in the classroom? Now, I'll be the first to tell you that outcomes are more important than just grades. But in order to have a data set, you need to have certain set of parameters that you can judge an algorithm upon. So we set out to find out that what is the behavior of someone that is spending time in the textbook to the outcome, which is a grade for them. And over a semester, we took a sample of 1,000 people, and we learned that how the interaction within the textbook, how you highlight, how you flip pages, how much time you spend on it, how much you come daily to the textbook has an impact of an A student versus a D student. But for the first time, we were able to build it into a model. So we can predict for the next student, depending on their behavior, what is the likelihood of what grade they're going to see. Now, as I said earlier, there are many, many factors when it comes to education, because how you learn, your style of learning, how you interact with your co-students, it all has an impact. But in this data set, we were able to begin to reliably predict to students that, look, based on how you spend your first week of school with the textbook and a sample of many other kids, and as new data is coming in, we're predicting you're going towards an A grade or a C grade, and we suggest you tweak these things. The key thing over here for us was we began to understand what is the value behind these technologies. And for us, it became very important that whatever we do, we come up with a way to provide value to the individual. In the process, we'll provide value to the enterprise. But if you can make an impact for the individual, that is going to have a direct impact on the organization. So we have been thinking about, when it comes to machine learning, as to how it can impact an employee from their daily job. How can you allow them to do their job better, which benefits them, as well as the company as a key criteria. Now, one of the areas of machine learning is sentiment analysis. And in order for a business to really understand the morale of the employees, are they happy? Is maybe a new policy was announced? What is the impact on my team? What is the impact of a happy manager versus a tough manager? What is the impact of a organization that just had its earnings report come out positive versus negative? How are employees talking to each other? What is the impact of a bad manager or a good manager? All these things become part of your enterprise strategy, which are very important to people today, and enterprises are running surveys on it. But the survey is a data point depending how you felt that very instant. And I will tell you, in most cases, no employee is going to go hit on the sad button, because they will all assume that they will be able to figure out that they clicked on the sad button, right? This is where machine learning comes in. This is where the next generation of software comes in. It all depends on how much data you're inputting into the system. What are you writing? What are you saying? What are you talking about? What is your communication? What are the analysis that you're using, right? All that begins to now come into a factor of how do you interact with your coworkers? Are you more aggressive? Are you passive aggressive? How would you interact with your manager? What is the impact if you're going to ask a manager a request? How's the manager feeling, right? A lot of these things can come into play for an employee, even to the point where machine learning can help an employee. They're about to schedule a meeting with a very important ask with a few individuals. Eventually, these systems will be able to predict that, look, afternoon meetings are better or worse depending on the profile of the people that you're going to ask for, right? Hey, if you're going to ask for a big increase in budget, you might not want to go when the machine learning is saying that your manager typically is in a sour mood in the afternoons versus in the morning. So it should be able to help you improve these things, right? Even think of scheduling. If you think of task management, I mean, there are so many cases in here that create a big impact on the way an employee can move forward. On the flip side, for the enterprise, having a happiness index based on actual information being put into the platform creates a big difference. Now, the sophistication of all these things really goes, you can go very high in terms of what level you want to achieve. But your number one resource, your number one cost, your number one benefit are your employees. And we really believe that the impact of machine learning and artificial intelligence in the start should be focused towards these employees and helping them do their tasks better. Instead of them having to do something over 20 steps, can we help them do it in 2 steps so they are more productive? And this is not about that, oh, well, we can do more with less, so we should let the employees go. This is actually more about that the employees are becoming more productive, that your company is doing so much better, that your business is increasing, and you're going to add more to your organization to go after the bigger business. That's the real impact where efficiency and productivity comes in. And that, to us, is the area where massive changes can be done. Now, for all this to work, you need a good amount of data coming into the platform. This can't be just based on emails coming in, because emails are a very formal way of communication. This has to be a accumulation of data on how employees are communicating more informally, because a happy employee versus an upset employee, they use different words. And how can you begin to look into that and really begin to predict an area of improvement for individual employees, departments? You could have a branch. In a bank, you could have one branch which is really doing well and another branch which is not doing so well. How do you understand what's really happening over there? Is it a manager? Is it the employees? Is it the location? All these things come into factor, because now you can begin to understand that if majority of my employees are positive, the branch tends to do much better. But you now have the actual data to back it on, to say that I have proof that this is what's causing a problem for our employees, and how do we go and solve it? Because ultimately, the job of a great manager is to remove the roadblocks faced by the employees. That's the ultimate job, to improve, to help them do their job. And that's where all these technologies are coming in, to allow you to do these things. It's very exciting in terms of the areas that you can work within a business. I mean, frankly, from marketing to sales to customer service, machine learning and some sort of AI are going to have a deep impact. For us, the really important thing is that what is the impact on the individual employee who's your number one resource? And how can you make them more efficient and a lot more happy in order to come to work and do their job? Also becomes even more important when you're working from home, right? When people are not together with each other, how do you really begin to understand what impact they're having with each other? So I would say that a lot of these areas of technology that are being put together are fundamentally going to change how enterprise software is built, how companies use it, how businesses thrive from it. But it also has to be brought into account that the productivity gain is an overall win for the business. It's an overall win for the board to say that this is an area for us to invest in, learn, and see how we can improve on it, and how can we make the difference. Obviously there's massive changes in terms of sales, right? Your machine learning can now begin to predict what's a good time to call certain types of executives, right? It's the algorithms and the systems will be put together in order for you to do that. So overall, I would say that machine learning is going to have such an impact on the way our enterprises function that everyone should be looking at how do we do a test, and how do we bring it in an area where we can have tangible results based on some of the activities that we're trying to do, and how can you automate certain things and then take it to the next level where the employees are freed up to do bigger and broader jobs. So thank you again for your time. I won't take too much of the time on the video call. My team is there to further talk about some of the things we discussed here and answer many if you have any questions. Thank you so much.